Hey everyone, you're watching the Esperance 243. I'm really giddy right now. So, if I make any weird sounds or um, random words or even weird gestures, forgive me. A lot has happened today and it's gotten me all wild up and, you know, it's all because I got something done today and I'm so in love with my Romeo. I mean, today me and Josh are just talking, and he said something. Oh yeah, those he typed up those wonderful words I've been wanting to hear all my life, and it just sent goosebumps all over my arms. So yeah, I'm a lovesick woman. Oh, I want to be in his arms so bad. All right, sorry. I did not turn this I did not turn the recording on to talk about my Romeo. I turned it on because of book reading. Oh my gosh! Sorry. Just on top of the goosebumps and all that, I finished watching one of the seasons of Power Rangers last night and started the next season. I just all giddy giddy. Okay. I need to calm down. Whew. Relax. Relax. I think that helped. I ordered some food from a local shop, a local restaurant. Um. Oh, I probably should. 2.5. I guess I should go ahead and start reading. All right. If I have enough time after this, I'm going to talk to you guys about last night. I had some exciting stuff. Okay. Let me check the time real quick. Oh, dang, I talked way too much. Yeah, that's about sums it up. Here we go. Kaylee couldn't take it anymore and decided to join in the cave search. Soon, she stopped herself. She realized she had entered an area of the park she had walked before. She tried remembering what happened that day. We didn't just walk. Someone had walked by us, she whispered. She thought for a moment and gasped. I knew he wanted something else besides casual chat. Then she went off in search of an officer nearby. When she called out to a police officer, he rushed to her side. They entered the familiar part of the park. Kaylee went to every rocky area, going over the surface with her hand. Soon, her hand felt the curve of an arch. She looked behind her. An officer was there. She gave him a motion that the cave was in front of her. He nodded, pressed a button on his walkie-talkie, and spoke into it. All the police officers were there in 1 minute flat. One entered the cave and did a quick search. He came out and noted everyone that no one was in there. Yet. Then the police officer officers hid in parts of the area in a flash. They were still able to see the opening of the cave and the entrance to their part of the park. Kaylee widened her eyes at the quick pace. She looked for the nearest officer and hid next to him. Suddenly, 4 men entered the area, 2 of which were the partners. To know. Oh. ... To know, someone complained. If you weren't so concerned about her happiness, that mermaid wouldn't have taken it, the bossy partner yelled. You're a wuss! He stormed off into the cave. Kaylee closed her eyes, trying not to imagine what it would have been like bumping into a man like that. Bumping into a man like him. She turned her head away. For the next few minutes, the 2 partners quarreled for what felt like a long time. Boxes were being moved by all 4 men. They were about done. The last person came out with 2 medium-sized boxes. He sighed in frustration. Did you not hear me? The boss yelled. Call Enrique! We need to get this stuff out of here. If she took that toy to King Adelaide's, we're probably already trapped. You are trapped, Kaylee thought to herself. Probably on both sides by now. Then his partner came out. He took out his cell phone and called the person. The other 2 men came out carrying boxes. They set the boxes down and took a deep breath. All of a sudden, there was a loud whistle, but it sounded a lot like a bird. The police officers came out of hiding. Freeze! One of the officers shouted. The boss widened his eyes. Kaylee stayed hidden. Put the boxes down! Put your hands behind your head and stay there! The partner obeyed, and so did the other 2 men. Their boss was still shocked at what was going on. He dropped the boxes and went back inside the cave. 2 of you men, go after him! We'll take care of this! The officer in charge called out. 2 police officers ran off inside the cave. One of them caught something in the corner of their eyes and followed what they saw. The other officer followed him. When they entered the room with the wall decoration, no one was in there. I thought I saw part of that decoration move, the first officer said. The second officer nodded, moving toward it, and flipped the wall decoration to the side. They found the hole. After you, Phil. The officer rolled his eyes and went in. The other one followed, not too far behind. When they landed in the water, they were surprised to find a dark tunnel. The police officers took out their glow sticks, broke them enough to create light, and swam towards the underwater cave's opening. That's my dog. It took them a while to get there. By then their lungs were burning badly. They swam out of the cave and went to the surface. The 2 officers burst out and took deep breaths. They were in for a surprise after catching their breaths. They saw merpeople below them. One of the officers tapped their partner's shoulder. He looked at him as his partner made a signal. He nodded, and then they took a deep breath and dived down to see the merpeople more clearly. They couldn't believe it when they saw a merman wearing a crown. Garnet was there with King Adelaide's. So was Mr. Ezra. He was in the tunnel when he spotted the merman coming down. The merman in front of King Adelaide hung his head low. He and the king were both disappointed. Garnet spotted the cops. She tapped on the king's shoulder, pointed them out, and whispered to him. He nodded and pointed his trident toward them. Bluish light beamed from the trident and landed on the two police officers. They had become mermen for the time being. King Adelaide looked at them and gestured them to come. The officers swam to him. I will be right back. My dog really wants to go outside. I'm not showing you guys my butt. In my way. Time check. I just made the most weirdest face. Alright, where was I? King Adelaide looked at them and gestured them to come. The officers swam to him. Welcome, gentlemen, the king said. I understand you and I are after the same merman. They nodded. The officers were speechless. What was going on was not covered in protocol, so they said nothing. Uncle, Garnet interrupted. He looked at her. Perhaps he should be on land. It will be a good opportunity for him to spend some time thinking. She paused. Maybe he'll be able to have a second chance. He gave her a look. I mean, a second chance at living. A point in life is to learn from mistakes. Why can't he? King Adelaide thought about it. You have a point, Garnet. I think I'll let him do that. He raised his trident and pointed it at the merman. Young man, not only are you banned from Aquatica forever, you will never come back to the ocean as a merman. Yellow light beamed from the trident and landed on the merman. Live life to its fullest. The merman nodded. The yellow light disappeared, and he suddenly turned human. Garnet looked away with shock. The man was naked. Then the king looked at the merman officers. Once you touch land outside the waters, you will become human again, with the clothes you had on your back before. This man will need clothes before you leave the shore. They nodded and grabbed the man's arms. He was having a hard time swimming to the surface. He knew he couldn't swim without a tail. Garnet sighed in relief. Aquatica was safe, and so was the ocean. Mr. Ezra placed a hand on her shoulder. She looked at him and smiled. You were brave, Garnet, he told her. She blushed. It was nothing. I did what I had to do. I didn't want the ocean, especially Aquatica, to suffer from all that. Imagine if I wasn't here. He widened his eyes in fear. I don't even want to imagine that, he whispered. He gave her a soft look. Imagining you not here would make me feel rather lonely. She opened her mouth and closed it, blushing. Thanks, Ezra, she whispered. Before he could turn away, Garnet put her hand on his shoulder and gave him a hug. I wouldn't have been able to handle all this without you. He smiled and hugged back. King Adelaide felt rather awkward in that situation. She and Ezra gasped with realization he was still there and pulled apart. And that is where I stop. So, I guess the next time when I read, I will start with Mr. Ezra saying, "You were brave." Alright, I will see you guys Friday with the last video. And Friday is my birthday! Alright, I will see you guys later. This is DS Bronze at 243, signing off.